Guys, welcome to our channel. Today I want to talk about vegetation. So vegetation is any green covering on the earth's surface, like here. It could be natural, it could be planted, like the cassava there is planted. So you're seeing some coffees. We have the baazis over here. We have the trees at the background. And the question that we ask, what are the factors that influence vegetation? So we have natural or physical factors such as climate. So climate entails things like sunshine. So the availability of sunshine allows for ripening as well as germination. Then if we have winds, they will allow pollination of the trees. If you have winds, they will lead to bending of the trees also. You can see the bananas at the background. Let me show you. See, there is some bending because of the winds. You go further, you can have availability of rainfall. So different crops thrive under different precipitation levels. We have the xerophytes that do well in arid areas, that do in moderate rainfall areas. Then we have hydrophytes that grow in areas that are wet. So for example, the hydrophytes, you're likely to find things like swamps, yeah, right? Yeah. So like here you're seeing the cassava, because this is an arid area. The cassava is drought resistant, so it's doing really well. You can see we have the eucalyptus trees here. Yeah. So we have this vegetation over here, the scrubs. You can see the plant is xerophyte. You can see it has thorns, it's smooth, it's a succulent. Yeah, it has few stomata that are behind or below. Such things. Climate, wind pressure. Yeah. Then another thing we have about aspect, this is the direction of slope. So areas that are facing away from the sun usually have cold temperatures. So you will find in such areas we have scanty vegetation. Yeah. Then the slope also will determine the water being received. Like areas on the windward side where the rain is received have luxuriant growth of vegetation. The one that are on the leeward side will have scanty vegetation. Another physical factor that influences the growth of vegetation is about the soils. So you can see for deep soils, you're likely to have deep-rooted plants growing. They are luxuriant, there's a variety. But if you go to where we have infertile soils and perhaps they are shallow, you find we have limited vegetation growing. So there you're likely to find things like lichens. Yeah, you'll find maybe some grass. Huh? You can see here, kadogo. Physical factor is about the terrain or topography. So like here, it's a flat area. So you find we tend to have a variety of crops. Yeah, unlike in areas maybe on mountains where it is rugged, so their vegetation will thrive. Why? Because human beings will not have encroached such areas in search of settlement or land for practicing agriculture. So this is the difference. That's why you're seeing here it's a bit scanty. Remember also on top of mountains, it's they receive high rainfall, so we have luxuriant growth of trees. Like this one is the mukilifi, the mighty mukilifi tree. So some of the trees that you can see. Yeah. So those are the physical factors. We got the human factors. This include the government policy. If the government has policies like, for example, there's banning of charcoal burning, then we're going to have thriving of vegetation. If they have forest reserves, then we are going to have vegetation growing in such areas. Sometimes you find the government has given a gazette for encroachment of a certain forest reserve. So in such a case, you're going to see vegetation will differ. Another thing, you look at population. So the density, the amount of population will determine the amount of rainfall being received in an area. You find, for example, we have a lot of people in an area, they are likely to cut down trees for their own cover, it is seen. But if we had sparse population, then there's availability of land scattered, ready for vegetation. Like here, you can see a big place is under, has vegetation. Yeah, this one. You can see the vegetation there. It's availability of market demand for the products. Like if we have a demand for forests products or maybe purpose, then people are likely to plant more. If there's no demand, they don't plant anything at all. Yeah, those are the factors that influence vegetation. You can have even transport and communication lines. If they're passing through a place, definitely there is going to be cutting off vegetation. Here, these are some of the forest products, the timber which has been used to make doors, beds. They're not planted, they're naturally growing. So you can see we have some pollution here. Ambo. Hello. I'm fine, thank you. Where are you taking the baby? Oh, it's okay. Alright. Asante. Yes, I was greeting some people. Yeah, so here have those trees. Ooh, voila.